I'm not starting over, I'm starting from experience. And this is something that I tell myself anytime I feel like I failed at something, or if I have to take a project that I poured a lot of resources in and I have to start from scratch. There is a reason why I haven't been posting as frequently and as much, because one, I just feel like I'm misaligned. And number two, I feel like I'm a little bit bored and it's just not as fun as it once was. So, in this episode, I'm going to be explaining why I'm starting over from scratch. And two, moving forward, who this channel is potentially going to be for. And then number three, the upcoming projects that we want to do at the end of 2025 and the start of 2026. So let's talk about it. Why am I starting over? There is a life principle that I follow to this day from one of my coaches that I hired that was a life coach, and it stuck with me forever. And it's a saying that says, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And if you've been following me for a while now, you know that I love fitness. I own 2 gyms here in Las Vegas. We had 3 at one point. We closed one down. And I'm a trainer. I'm a coach. I've been doing this for nearly 2 decades now. And yeah, I love working out and I love fitness. And one of my philosophies around fitness is you can do more with less. And that's just a core principle that I align with. And it's why I do essentially very minimal types of workouts. It's why I do consistent workouts that are probably boring for a lot, but I actually enjoy it. And it's something that's ingrained in my DNA. And on the content side, it's the opposite. I'm trying to do more and get more, do more with more. And it's exhausting, one. And it takes a lot of time, which I don't necessarily have. I'm a father, I'm a business owner, I'm a coach. And while I do love people who create that type of content, I just don't have the time or the resources to allocate to be able to do those consistently. And it's taking a toll on my sleep. It's taking a toll on my recovery. And more importantly, it's just taking a toll on my joy. It's just not as fun. And another major principle of fitness for me is do fitness things that are joyful, because from that place of joy, you just naturally just do more. You just do more of it. And I want to strip this stuff down to just its bare minimum, to its simplest form. So moving forward, you're not going to see a lot of sounds and transitions and music and a cajillion B-roll, primarily because of that time component to it, for the resource component to it, but really for the value component to it. And it might not go viral, and I'm okay with that, but I really just want to give value to the audience that I want to speak, the people that I want to help. And which leads us to really the second component to this is who this is for. And I had to reflect on who this was for, and it really boiled down to 2 people. One, who I was 5-10 years ago, a coach, and then 2, my son. I really just want to leave footprints for him and for the coaches who decide to take on this path, and in hopes that in moments where you feel lost and you need something to follow, you can follow this, and hopefully what's worked for me can potentially work for you. So in a nutshell, this content is going to be geared towards people who help people, primarily probably gym owners, primarily probably personal trainers and just coaches, or potentially even life coaches. So if you're someone who helps other people get from point A to point B, this channel is essentially going to be for you. What breaks my heart, there's a lot of people that want to help a lot of people, but they just don't find themselves to be as effective. And because of that, they just quit entirely and they just don't help anyone. And they feel like they're missing some sort of purpose. And I think there's a coach in all of us. There's an inner coach in us, and there's an outer coach of us. And life is really exciting when you have someone coaching you and you're making progress. So that's why we initially called the podcast The Coaches, because I just gravitate towards those types of people. I find myself in I'm not a big party person. I'm actually more introvert than most people realize. But if I do go into a party, I naturally gravitate towards people who help more people. And I'm just interested in that. And I want to live a life of, one, a place of joy, but a life also where I feel like I'm just constantly interested. And I'm interested in you. If you're a coach, I'm interested in you, and I want to help you. And really, I want to help myself 5 years ago, because there's a lot of pain points and obstacles that I've experienced that I wish I would have learned way back. So that's essentially what I'd like to really cover in the next, I don't know, at least the next 12 episodes, because I want to do this a little bit more consistently. So what's coming next? And for the most part, this is just a more recent revelation. And I got this revelation from listening to a podcast, and it was like a yoga podcast. I gotta figure out who it was, but I watch a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos. But for the most part, there was a story of a man who asked his son really 2 questions from an early age and all the way to where he is now. And the 2 questions was, what's the meaning of life and what's the purpose of life? I think those are some really big, deep questions that we get and we ask ourselves a lot, especially when you're in very low moods. And when the son was old enough, he answered it in 2 ways. So what's the meaning of life? One part, and he would answer, the meaning of life is to find your gifts. And then he would answer the other question, which is, what's the purpose of life? It's to share your gifts. And in essence, there's 2 parts of this content. You'll find a part which is a massive component for me, is to find my gifts and to constantly find my gifts. It's why we shoot a lot of those mini documentaries, and we want to do a little bit more of those. And they're essentially mini experiments of what the body can do, or maybe what the mind can do. We don't know all of the experiments we want to run, but we're interested in it. I'm interested in it, and I think you should be interested in it, because there are a lot of studies that have amazing data points, but there's also a lot of amazing people that can do very, very interesting things. We call them the outliers, and a lot of times in the studies, they're often discarded. And I find studies to be 2 parts. One, very amazing and interesting, and I use a lot of that studies to help people. But I also find it to be potentially limiting, because we don't know what's possible. We see so many new world records every single year, every 4 years. We see people do amazing things. And I'm not saying you're going to be running a 4-minute mile anytime soon, or you're going to be back squatting 1,000 pounds anytime soon, but it's just to essentially, hopefully, just spark the question that your body can be much more than where it is now. And that's a core message that I try, and my team tries to deliver in a lot of these documentaries. Even though we do pretty crazy stuff, that's not necessarily the message we're trying to do, is just do more crazy stuff. No, it's just a question that maybe my body can do something more than what people told me it can do. So that's a major component, is constantly in this pursuit to find my gifts, which is huge for me. And we'll do that through documentaries. The second part to it is to share my gifts. And I think the sharing of the gift part is really rewarding for me. And I feel like I'm giving something back. And it allows me, anytime I give something back, I go back and I try to farm more things. If I'm not giving anything back, I find myself less and less interested in experimenting more. So this type of podcast, these short versions where it's 10, 15, this one might be a little longer, but much more of them will be much shorter, is to essentially share the gifts, share my experiences, share my pain points and my learnings, and hopefully it can be of value for you. So that's one major component, and we'll do it via this version, but we also want to do it via podcast. The podcast, however, just takes a little bit of time, and it takes a little bit of time because I have to coordinate the time between our coaches. My coaches are full-time. Some of them are doing multiple jobs. Some of them are massage therapists. Some of them are trainers. Some of them are coaches. Some of them do it part-time, and it's really difficult to block a time where we can both sit down and really just give you guys value. But this format I can do pretty quickly. One of my biggest limiting beliefs was recently broken by a mentor of mine, and it was, and I'm sure you probably get it too, and it's like, who would listen to me from this perspective? And I think a lot of people struggle with it. And it dawned on me, he was like, who's that person you take care of? I'm not going to say a name because they probably watch this, but in this scenario, her name is Jen. And I was like, that's Jen. He's like, let me ask you this. Does Jen really follow a lot of your advice and think you have all this wisdom in your brain that helps her? And I was like, oh yeah, she says that all the time. And sometimes it's hard for me to believe, but it's showing. It's helping her, and it's very rewarding for me. The second question he asked was, how many Jens are out there? And I had to pause and just think, and it was easy. There's hundreds of them. There's thousands of them. Potentially millions of them. And that's really why I want to do a little bit more of this, is to really prove to myself that maybe I could help more than just 12 of my clients, 150 members, 10 coaches, 20 coaches, 30 coaches at one point. I want to really just prove to myself that, yeah, I think I have some knowledge that could potentially help. And if it does, sweet. If it doesn't, it was an awesome experiment, and then we go back to the drawing board. But yeah, I think in closing, if you're here for like a more refined look on things where there's a lot of edits and there's explosions and massive transitions, this might not be the channel for you. But if you're curious of what's to come up next, and you like this authentic, this is how I speak. Another goal of mine is just to speak the way I speak in general. I feel in my content lately, I don't speak that way. This is how I speak. If you were to come to me and I'm going to give you some advice, this is essentially how it works. My inflections are not like way up in the roof all the time. It's actually pretty calm, and my wife thinks it's boring. My wife wants to speed it up, but then I'm like, maybe my wife's not my ideal person that I'm speaking with. I speak slow. It's not a lot of cuts. I also have a lot of grammatical errors because English is not my first language. I was actually born in Philippines, for those of you guys that want to know. And I came here when I was 7. And now I'm living the dream. It's pretty amazing, to be honest. And it's another big reason why I feel I need to share my experiences, because I couldn't do it there. And I feel like this is where it's at, guys. If you're in the US, and you're not sharing your gifts and your pain points and your messes and turning them into messages, I think a lot of people are missing out. And yeah. So if you're curious to see where this channel goes, and if you're a person that likes to help other people, you're a gym owner, you're a coach, you're a trainer, this is actually going to be for you. We will be talking a little bit of some stuff around weight loss, and that's kind of been the past channel. There's a lot about weight loss, and that is an important piece, but it's only 1% of who I really am, and it's 1% of this whole fitness journey. So my goal here is not to go viral, it's to essentially become more effective. And that's my intention, is also to take the coaches that can be watching this and they want to be more effective. Because at the end of the day, we just want to have an impact on someone's life. Little, small, whatever. So those of you guys that's already subscribed and has followed me, I appreciate you. And thank you so much for watching. And yeah, if you like this type of content that's just a little bit more honest and real, this is me. So comment below if you think this is all right. If not, no worries. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.